Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Anime Night in the Dojo. Today's featured show, Skeleton Knight, Season 2.
I am Skeleton Knight, Season 2, Episode 5. Welcome back to the dojo. I'm Ryu. It's Age. We're back for more Anime Night in the dojo. And well, last time, Ariane's sister made her grand return, tested Arc, and now they have a skeleton problem. About it. We had a slight Scooby-Doo murder mystery for a minute. That still has to happen. I'm pretty sure that, Merchant's wife is at least not in the picture. She might be dead, based on everything we talked about last week. But we'll have to see. I don't trust characters like that, so that is what it is. But for now, we have a serious skeleton problem, and it's not Arc, for once. So we'll just have to see what happens. It's hot, so I had a couple days reprieve, and then today it's decided, hey, you guys are doing your recording today, so it has to be hot. So good times, but it could be worse. Yeah. It could be over 100. So I guess I shouldn't complain that much.
The last couple of days have actually only been about 80, and today even is only about 80. But today has decided to be humid as fuck, so it feels like it's in the freaking mid to high 90s.
Yep. So we're gonna suffer through this and hopefully get our minds off of madness. So yeah, we're gonna push some buttons and get going here. So people on Patreon, we'll see you on the other side for the time reaction, and people on YouTube, we'll see you on the other side of the edit for the discussion and review. Here goes some. Well, alrighty then, there you guys have it. I think the public service announcement of the day is right here by Ponta. No using earth magic when inside a cave. Arc needs to stop using earth magic underground. But, he's just a little dumb sometimes. When he gets super overexcited, he has minimal impulse control. So many more options based on, once again, I'll harken back all the way back to the first episode again. His Holy Knight class has, he inherited all the skills of all the previous classes, and based on the game arc that he played, he went through like 10 or so classes. So there's a lot of magic that he has access to. We saw it in this episode at the beginning when he blew the skeletons away with the wind magic. You know what I mean? That was something different that we haven't seen him use before. Yeah, there we go. There's a nice freaking ragdoll shot of the skeletons being blown away with some really weird voice line right there. Did you guys catch that VA for the skeletons being blown away? It was like almost Wilhelm scream-esque. It was kind of weird. But yeah, we saw Arc use a couple new spells in this. Along with some of his classics, that kind of thing. But, we haven't really seen him use a lot of fire or wind magic at all. You know what I mean? It's mostly been earth and thunder, lightning, whatever you want to call it. Remember when he electrocuted everybody in like a freaking half-a-mile radius?
Yeah, earth and light are like his two main elements, but he can use a wide variety of spells.
Yeah.
Including spatial shit, like, his teleporting.
Yeah. But again, so many options for this. He could have just used that Flame Viper spell and just completely disintegrated them. No problem. Or later in the episode, we saw Ariane use Earth Magic for the first time with, cleansing the skeletons and stuff. She could have handled the rest of them too, because, she took out several dozen of them with that spell. So I'm just saying options were there, but without the incendiary event that is using Rockfang underground, you don't find the hidden mine and all that crap. So sometimes being stupid pays off.
Well, I mean, they would have found the mine anyway, because they would have just continued exploring the tunnels.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, like, Chiome found it, you know what I mean? And she didn't cause a giant cave-in. So, yeah, that is what it is. We had to give Arc and Evine time to, get to know each other and all that crap, typical plot device, which is totally fine. They had the whole explanation to these this ore You know what I mean? We saw what it did. It's a magic amplifier. You know, Arc uses like, you know, classic like I parry everything tiny flame. You know what I mean? And it turned it into a giant freaking explosion.
It's basically coal, but for magic.
Yeah.
It just amplifies whatever is used on it.
Yep. So either way, you know, at the end of the day, solid episode for what it was. We had, you know, had the guy pegged for what he was, you know, just tossed his wife down a very large hole and she ended up encased in this stuff and totally didn't haunt his ass at the end of the episode there with dropping the golem on him, which whatever that golem was made out of, that's seriously impressive because the last couple times Arc has used judgment, the fight was over. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is the first time we've seen something actually tank judgment. But golems are typically magic resistant in mythology.
Right. So in this case, this would probably be one of those times where just like punching it would have been the best case scenario for Arc. You know, just hit it with the classic lariat and just kind of like explode it.
Yeah, generally the whole thing with golems is just you try to find some way to physically destroy its core, and attacking anything but its core usually gets you next to nowhere. And magic usually has a significantly reduced effect on it.
Yep. So, based on how this show or this season has been doing that, like quick, like sneak peek into the episode at the beginning there in that little clip, I just assumed that this was something Arc summoned, but it wasn't. It was controlled by the guy, which, once again, we have seen multiple times now, where when the control device, you know, breaks, the controlled creature just kind of back to the way it was. We saw it with the wolves in season 1 and stuff like that. So
yeah,
we'll just have to see going forward how many, like we talked about at the end of the reaction there, was with the control devices, you know, working on things like wolves and stuff like that. But with undead, those are technically generally considered like lesser monsters as well. So, you know, it would make sense that it also works on like super lesser undead, just like, you know, resurrected skeletons, those kinds of things.
Yeah, generally undead also have a inherent resistance to things like mind control and stuff like that. But that's typically reserved for actual intelligent undead, which are usually like mid-tier undead.
Yeah.
Low tier undead like skeletons and zombies and stuff like that that have no mind usually don't have any resistance to being controlled by their things.
Yep.
That's why they're usually like the first thing you see necromancers get a hold of.
Right. So either way, a lot of spectacly madness in this. This guy got exactly what he deserved, especially for wearing those kind of glasses. Well, we all know the kind of characters that wear these. So need we go on? We got introduced to this faction. The princess talked about them in passing. I think it's kind of interesting how it's being the politics just of Roden is just like every once in a while we just kind of get like a 30-second to 1 minute cut in and it's gone.
Yeah, it's more just kind of like it using it as a like in-universe reasoning to freaking exposit, combined with doing a continuous reminder of like, yeah, this is stuff still going in the background, even though it's not the main focus.
Right. Yeah. It's just keep this in mind. Don't forget about this. So another guy to keep in mind, Thanatos, the head honcho of this. I guess we could call it a monastic order, basically. You know, we talked about, you know, theocracy, that kind of thing. Once again, for those of you who don't know the reference, Thanatos is the Greek god of death. So, well, if this guy is taking that name, or at least that name is being used for him, they must think very highly of him. You know what I mean? Obviously, they probably don't have knowledge of the Greek god of death. To be fair, Hanzo might have not been the only person isekai. I mean, so who knows?
Yeah, that was my first thought when they mentioned Thanatos in this is, oh, hey, so wait, the leader freaking is using undead and goes by Thanatos, but also Thanatos. We've talked about this a bunch in the ReZero stuff. Their universe doesn't have any context for Thanatos, so he wouldn't be named Thanatos unless he had some form of reasoning / knowledge of the other world. So either he's an otherworlder himself, or this order was started by an otherworlder, similar to like Chiome's village.
Yeah, and that's why, all the like major players in Chiome's village are named after a lot of the like legendary shinobi from Warring States period in Japan and stuff like that.
So once again, the guy who started her village was another worlder who either was just a major ninja buff who named himself Hanzo, or was the original Hanzo.
Right. Yeah. So we'll just have to see, but keep that in mind. Thanatos, generally speaking, when you're in another world, anybody who has a name from like our world, you always got to kind of like throw sus at it, because it's not just across like everything that we have seen, like that we have watched most of the time. It's not just like a coincidence. Like sometimes, like every once in a while, it's like, oh, it's just they just happen to have this name that is like Japanese or Americanized or whatever, but they're not another world.
A fair amount of isekai do kind of flub it, of just like, oh well, it's coincidental that this character has a similar name. But when you have shows like this or ReZero or whatever that actually draws precedent of like, no, that it's the same name because it is influenced from the other world, then you have to assume that, unless given reason otherwise to doubt it, that any info from the other world, any like similarity to the other world, is likely the case of another otherworlder getting isekai.
Yep. So that being said, another solid episode. Again, there's not really a huge amount to talk about or speculate on. We're just kind of waiting to see where it goes with, especially with how the OP and the EDR with Chiome's village and stuff like that. All the other characters from the that village are probably going to come into effect in the second half of the season here coming up. They're going back to the original plan, which was to go to the Dragon Spring. You know what I mean? So the only things we can really speculate on are stuff like this order. We already kind of did that right here, and we've talked about the Eastern Empire and their ruler from last season. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of a wait and see. We're not getting anything on them, so we can't speculate anymore. So not much we can do about it.
Yeah, presumably the Eastern Empire isn't going to be a thing until they're either going to be the end game, or they're not going to be a thing until like friggin' the prince like fully sides with them, and they have to go in, like Ark and them have to go through the Eastern Empire to get the prince.
Right, because at some point Ark is going to derp into Yuriarna again, and she's going to recognize him. You know what I mean? Or like point it out, and it's going to come out somehow that he's the one that saved them. You know what I mean? He casted that not the same spell that he used on them, but like another big wide area healing spell. I believe on Yuriarna he used regeneration or something, because I remember him saying it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And this was a more wide arcing holy spell that like or it more kind of felt like a nature kind of spell, but since he's a holy knight, it was probably holy. But it was just kind of like a big AoE heal that it wasn't like bringing people back from the dead like regeneration did. This was just kind of like they're alive in like pseudo critical condition, so this will work on them, and he didn't have to use regeneration.
Yeah, that was the whole thing. It was just that it was basically Holy Nova, and friggin' some of the people were still alive, and they were just leaving them, waiting for them to die so they could turn them into undead.
Yeah. So, either way, just more breadcrumbs, and not really a huge amount to speculate on. We just kind of got to wait and see what happens, and let the madness continue. We went through an entire episode without Ark eating something. Can you guys freaking believe that? Now that I've noticed it, he's going to stop eating, right? Just to spite me particularly. So that's all I really got for this one. Another solid episode. A lot of spectacly nonsense, new spells, some classics like the Armored Lariat. Always got to appreciate that. very Batman, the way old school Batman, should I say, like 50s and 60s era Batman, like Adam West, like pow, bang, that kind of stuff that they're doing. So it's always interesting. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen that, it's definitely an interesting watch, to be sure. There was an interesting era of comic movies way back in the day. Super back in the day at this point.
But back when they were more comic than movies.
Yeah, back when they were, yeah. So either way, that's all I got. You got anything else, Age?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I imagine we probably will make it to the Dragon Spring. At least to the Dragon territories. This episode, because the dragon is so prevalent in the DOP and ED.
Yeah.
But it'll probably be a thing of like, we'll make it to the Dragon territories, we'll encounter the dragon. But then before he can actually make it to the spring, whatever's going on with Shiomi's village will sidetrack him again.
Yeah, right. So we'll just have to see what happens. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, people of YouTube, beyond however you're watching, as always, we appreciate you stopping by and hanging with us here in the dojo for more Anime Night in the Dojo. And this was Skeleton Knight, Season 2, Episode 5. So have a good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it is for you. Have a good one. See you next time.
Hello again, everyone. Victoria here. Don't forget about those like and subscribe buttons. Your support is always appreciated. Thanks again for your time, and we look forward to seeing you again in the future.